Welcome to the Mod Labs podcast, the Mod Debrief.
This is your smart girl's guide to anything branding, marketing, business, and life.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Mod Debrief, the smart girl's guide to everything business, branding, marketing, and life. And today we are joined by Maggie Rose Macar.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. So Maggie Rose is the founder of Zant, a platform built at the intersection of coaching, capital, and community for founders. After navigating her own fundraising journey, she set out to build the resource she wished she'd had. One that combines the human side of building with the tools and access that actually makes a difference. Welcome, Maggie. Did I miss anything?
So many things. No, I'm just kidding.
There
No,
we
no,
go.
that was so good.
And
That was
is-
a really good intro.
So we can go now.
Yeah. Bye, everyone.
Okay, so welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Before we get into Zant, take us
Yeah.
back to who you were at 18. I know that was a pivotal part of your life, right?
Yeah.
That was kind of like the turning point for you,
Yeah.
such a young age. What was life like for you at that age?
So 18, really, I feel like 17 and 18 was really big for me. I was struggling with what I can now identify was depression and anxiety, but as a young person, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I was struggling with my own identity and my own sexuality, and there was just a lot as well going on at home. So when I was 18, I did run away from home,
Okay.
and I lived out of my car for a while until I got into a car accident, and then I couch hopped, and then finally I couch hopped back to New York City.
Oh, wow.
And there's actually this moment that was like the moment for me, which is when I came to New York. I bought a bus ticket. I only had $87 in my bank account.
Wow.
And I knew that if I took this round trip bus ticket, it would be like 40 something dollars. It was going to take literally half the money that I had in my bank account. But I just felt so lost, and I felt like I needed to be close to this thing that was a part of me because I was born in Manhattan. So I came into the city, I got off the bus, and I grabbed a cup of coffee. I grabbed a newspaper like I was like from the 1950s or something. I went to Central Park, and I just sat on this bench, and I was watching all these people just walk by. And I was thinking to myself and realizing all of these people have their own story.
Yeah.
Like it even though my story matters because it's my story, it really didn't matter in this grand scheme of life. Like every single person could have been struggling with homelessness, could have been struggling with a similar story, could have been struggling with the loss of a friend.
Yeah.
And so I had already been going through so much, but sitting there, I was like, this is who I am. Like I am one of these people who still gets up and goes and moves. And that's when I started to pivot and just really focus in on, okay, how do I get my life into a position where I have my own apartment? I'm not couch hopping. I'm not like living out of a car. I'm in a different place. And then simultaneously, as I was getting there, I ended up losing a very close friend of mine,
Okay.
and it was suicide. So
Are you comfortable about talking about that? a little bit?
yeah, it's a part of my story, and everything I do is dedicated to him and his life. So I lost him and just like completely lost myself all over again. And it took me a while. This was before COVID, by the way. This was before we had apps to go to like find therapy.
Yeah.
But I knew I needed help. So I went to Psychology Today. I was looking through different lists, and very long story short, I had a therapist who took a chance on me for $10 a session.
That's amazing.
It completely changed my life, but it saved my life too. And like I was struggling with eating, I was struggling with grief, I was struggling with things from my own life that I still had to
Yeah.
work through. And this man, like I would show up to therapy, and sometimes he would have a sandwich and he'd be like, we're gonna eat and talk, because like that's who he was. So yeah, that was my life at the time. It was very focused on survival and
Being
finding
in that
myself.
survival mode, I think, and at
Yeah.
such a young age. How has that informed the Maggie that you are today? I know that's a big question. but
Yeah.
we're here to ask the big things.
I think it's kind of like it built the first very thick callus in my life of like I had to learn a lot about life very early on. I mean, most people when they're 17, 18 years old, they're not sleeping out of a car, and there was a lot of performing that was going on too, because I was trying to show up to jobs, and I was trying to actually show up to class too, because I was going to school
Still
at the
at
time.
university.
Yeah. And so I was showing up, and I was dressing as best as I could. I was looking the part, and nobody would have known that I was going to the parking lot and sleeping in my car that night. Like nobody would have known. So I think that it taught me a lot about perception.
Yeah.
It taught me a lot about people. It taught me a lot about myself. Because now when I'm building and I'm building my company, and even when I deal with personal things, I have to remind myself, Maggie, you literally lived out of a car.
It's that empathy for yourself.
Yes, yes. I think about this moment where I was walking down the streets of New York City at 2 a.m. After coming out of work, because I was serving tables and doing what I could. And I was not afraid of anything. And like me now, I don't think I could say that I'm as like fearless as that girl was.
She's still there.
She's
see her.
there. It's just different, you know? So I think that really formed this, like, I had nothing to lose. So like there was nothing to stop me.
You think it's also like the naivete of being young?
Yes.
Not knowing any better?
No, that's such a great way to put it because it's so true. And like, because you also think that you have so much life to live.
Yeah.
Right? So you think that you're invincible.
100%.
And that feeling is intoxicating when you're a founder too. Because like you want to feel invincible as you're building your company. But it's you know, you mature.
Yeah. 100%.
Right? Now I'm like terrified to go outside sometimes, you know? Like I don't want to get mugged on the street. But like that girl, please, 3 a.m.
Who cares?
Who cares? She was walking around. You know, who cares? She was fine.
I think that was a perfect segue into like your journey as from being that girl, the fighter, the survivor.
Yeah.
How was she changed from Maggie, the founder?
Oh my goodness. So much has changed. I mean, the one thing I have learned a lot about is that people evolve and like we have to. That's a part of our journey here in life is to evolve.
Being human.
Yeah, exactly. Being human. But I used to be very afraid of change. Like that young person, even though I was constantly changing, I still didn't like it. But I had to like force myself to be uncomfortable. So there are traits that she had, again, like being invincible and all these things that as a founder has helped me. But now I do have things to lose. So it is different. And when you get older and like you mature, you have other people in your life. You have people to lose. You have things to lose. So
People you're
it's different.
responsible for.
Very responsible.
Yeah, as a
Hiring, firing, all the things. So yeah, I mean, I've definitely learned a lot. And again, it's just like building those calluses and being able to get to a point where your lived experience is a part of your decision making.
Okay, so how has all of that led you to Zant?
Yeah. Yeah. So we actually started in therapy.
Okay.
So we started in the mental health world very, very specifically. So
Love that.
After losing my friend and going to work with this therapist, I thought I wanted to be just like him. So I actually went back to school. The therapist. Yeah. So I went back to school. I studied psychology, did a minor in business. But when I got out, I started doing my hours. And I realized like this is not for me. So I started working in a nonprofit. I was working for also like crisis lines.
Okay.
And I was trying to find ways to keep almost like dedicating my work to my friend who I lost.
But let's honor him for a second. Can you tell us about your friend?
He was amazing. I don't want to say his name just because his family has asked me
Of course.
to keep that private. But
What
and that's
was he
actually
like?
hard too, by the way.
Of course. I'm sure.
So he was actually the most fun-loving, happy person. I actually was talking to somebody last night about him. The last time I saw him, this is going to sound like very like Boondocks, but the last time I saw him, I pulled into a gas station. He was on the back of a pickup truck and literally like saw me and like ran off the truck and jumped to see me. But this person was like the happiest person that you would ever meet. He was so kind and he loved me so much. And it was just such like a pure, honest love. Like he just wanted to support me in every way possible. Like he would even like when I didn't have a car at one point in our friendship, he would literally like drive me to a date.
Oh.
Like that's how kind he was. And a few days before he passed, we were talking about the future. Like he wanted to work on the railroads. He was a pilot.
Okay.
So like one of my favorite memories ever is there was an airport. At one point I lived next to an airport and it was a small airport. And he would fly these little planes. And at a certain altitude, you could still have like Wi-Fi. And this was before like we were so sophisticated with Wi-Fi, by the way. And he would text me and he would say, okay, I'm going to start flying and I'll be over your house.
Look up.
Yeah. literally he'd say, go to the window in 30 minutes. And I would go to the window like a little girl, like run to the window, and I would watch him like fly over me, and I knew exactly where he was going. And it was just like those memories. They were just so sweet and so kind. There was never anything ever.
So sincere.
Yes. And he was just such a good soul. So when it happened, it was really shocking.
I'm sure.
And it was really shocking to all of us and confusing. Yeah.
I think what's resonating with me is that your experience with your friend was not in vain because it's led you to your bigger purpose.
Yeah. Well, eventually I ended up taking that passion and taking that story and saying, okay, I want to help other people. And so COVID hit and the nonprofit I was working with closed. And I was literally looking out of a window and I was on the phone with a friend of mine and she said, oh my God, whatever you do, like, please don't be one of those people who builds a mobile app and like, yeah. Because like there was nothing about me that was technical.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's exactly what I'm going to do. And I learned how to wireframe. This was when it was really hard to build an app, by the way.
Like there are things available, tools available to us now that it's like the easiest thing, right?
Exactly. But at the time, it was so hard. I had to find an engineer and a developer, and I had to learn everything I could, and I had to wireframe. So our first version of the mobile app went to market in 2022. September. And then we were like fully ramped in 2023. Yeah. And what we were doing, we were a marketplace for young people to get access to therapists. We call them altruistic therapists. So therapists willing to give their time for $10 a session. It was amazing. We were helping over 2,000 young people at one point. We had over 100 therapists, but 2023, the very end of that year, all these like emergency laws that were in place that allowed these therapists to work across state borders lifted in the US. Okay. So we then were in this position of, oh my God, we can't match people anymore. What do we do? So it was a temporary pivot to work with coaches because they were not regulated the same way. And about 30% of our platform had their own coaching business alongside their therapy. So it was a very big shift because we went from like critical clients and very mental health focused to working with coaches. Yeah. And now we're working with business executive leadership coaches. We're working with founders. We're working with startups.
Complete shift.
So different. However, we're still always honoring this like thread with mental health because founders struggle with mental health 7 to 10 times more than the average person.
I mean, the struggle, the day-to-day struggle that founders deal with. And when we talk to our clients, it's, you know, a lot of people talk about work-life balance and all of that, but I am a firm believer that does not exist. Yeah. Just because of all the people that we work with, how can you, especially as a woman, how do you separate your personal life from your business, right? If you're a mother, a daughter, a sister, it's like sometimes you show up and for our founders who are mothers, it's like they have kids to worry about at home, right?
Yeah. Well, you know, and there's a psychology to this, okay? So like men, their brains are like file cabinets. Yep. So they file something and then they move on. And they can go back to the file cabinet or they can choose not to.
That's why they can't multitask.
This is actually the truth. Yeah. And so women, it's like a free-flowing highway.
Oh, 100%.
So work-life balance, especially for women, does not exist at all. And if you're a founder who thinks that you can leave personal stuff at the door, you can't. It doesn't exist either. It's true.
Super true. Okay. So jumping back in let's look at this from a dual perspective, right? Like as someone, as a builder, as a founder, and someone who has been coached, how did that show up in how you designed Zant?
Ooh, such a good question. So, you know, a part of my story is I worked with a therapist. But when I started building my company, I knew that I needed something different. So for anybody who's watched Billions, like, you know, Wendy Rhodes, I am obsessed with that character. And I was like, I need my own Wendy Rhodes. And I knew that I needed that person to like push me, keep me accountable, help me get unstuck. But somebody who was not a therapist, who was not my family, who was not a friend, and did not work within my company, right? And
completely like third person perspective.
Exactly. So I needed somebody like that. And so I was on the hunt to find my Wendy Rose.
And did you?
I did. Her name is Lauren Jones.
Is she on the app?
She is on the app. Actually, she is available to founders if you want your own Wendy Rhodes. She very much is Wendy, though. And I love it. I love every moment of it. But like, you know, working with her meant that I was not just going out and helping founders get access to coaches. I was walking the walk and talking the talk. So that shifted a huge thing for me because now I also had my own testimonial in my own company.
100%.
And could go really help identify, you know, different aspects of the coaching journey for other founders, other startups, or even coaches, and like how they need to build their business and what's important for the customer journey for them too. So
Okay, so Zant's numbers are super striking. Founders are 33% more likely to succeed. PE-backed companies are seeing 48% growth revenue. When you see data like that, what do you think is happening underneath?
So I think that like one of the biggest misconceptions that a lot of people have about coaching
Mm-hmm.
is that it's only for corporate leaders,
Mm-hmm.
or it's a nice to have, or it's a luxury. And like the thing is, this person is they're not just like sitting and talking to you.
Yeah.
They're not just listening to you, and they're also not just holding you accountable. They're building 90-day strategies. They're understanding your business. Many of these coaches will then go on to work with the team.
Mm-hmm.
So they're also working with your team. So there's a lot that's happening. It's like an onion, right? So like the onion layers are peeling back. And I can only imagine that every part of that is why those statistics are those statistics. So I always like to say to founders, like, if you had the opportunity to increase your revenue by 48% by putting one person in your company,
Wouldn't you?
why wouldn't you try
Right?
it?
It seems like a no-brainer.
Why wouldn't you try it?
I think, when people think of coaching, and you just touched on this, is that
Yeah.
there are concrete steps that they're providing you and your team. It's
Yes.
not just, how do you feel today?
No, it's so much, because that to me, you know what? I had a coach say it so well. She said, listen, those who feel unwell go to a therapist to feel well, but those who feel well go to a coach to become their best selves. The same thing goes with coaches in their companies. I want to build the best company. I want to build the best culture in my company. I want to also get myself unstuck. And when we're leveling up, founder to CEO, and we're building that, like, we need somebody who understands the journey and is also motivating us, because as the founder, especially a solo entrepreneur, who's above me? Now, listen, I'm a faith-based founder. Okay, so for me, it's God, but like, he's not as communicative sometimes as I want him to be.
Yeah.
So like, I need that coach to really help me as I'm growing the company and help me make decisions too.
And like
you know?
you said, it's someone that's got no skin in the game. It's not your mom,
Yeah.
it's not your friend, it's not your employee, it's
Yeah.
not your partner, whatever.
Yeah.
You touched on this in your answer, but how do you think coaches help in shifting the culture in a company?
So much. Oh my goodness. And I've seen this with my own company. So I brought my own Wendy Rhodes, Lauren, into my company to work with my team. And the way they show up for each other is different. The way that they are motivating themselves, the way that they show up for me, the way they support me as a founder, it's very different. And I always know, by the way, like, when I never talk about their coaching sessions, it's fully confidential.
Of course.
But I know when they've met with Lauren,
You see a shift.
because I see the shift.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're just like a little bit more excited and a little bit like more on fire, because they're like, okay, I'm focused. So I think that there's a lot with the culture that shifts. Also, on the other side, your employees or your team now have somebody that they can talk to,
An ally.
an ally. And many times, like, employees and team members, it's hard for them to figure out, depending on how close they are to the founder. Like, how do I talk to the founder about
Of course.
this?
Or like sometimes like, I can't take this to HR.
Right.
Yeah.
Who's HR?
Yeah,
right.
sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes the founder is also HR. Problem.
Of interest.
Big conflict of interest. But truly, like, there's always this huge culture shift that happens with your team when you bring in the right coach, because you're now all moving towards the same goal together, stronger, faster, but really as a unit. And you have somebody to challenge everybody. Last thing I would say on that too, when you are in the down season, because like the journey is like this and then like this and then
Oh, and
like
sometimes
this.
daily, within the same day, it's up and it's
Girl,
down.
Sometimes it is just like blah, blah, blah,
Hourly.
Right? Oh yeah, minute by minute, second by
go.
second. But when you are in the down season, you as the founder, especially a solo entrepreneur, like, you're now trying to keep the morale of your team up while keeping your own morale up. But when you have a coach,
100%.
they're also helping you. They're like motivating your team. They're understanding what's really going on. So I think that's important to note too.
Awesome. Okay, so you're on a longer mission around shifting. Cut. One more. You're on a longer mission around shifting capital toward women-led ventures. So that's not a small goal, Maggie.
No,
That
it's
is a big, big, big
Yeah.
goal. So how does Zant fit into that?
Well, first, anybody who knows me knows that I do not do anything small. That
Same
is
girl.
for sure. Yes. Women, so that became very important to me really in 2024. My journey, being a solo entrepreneur, and then having the things I told you earlier behind me, right? Like living in the car, like
Your journey.
building myself, right? That whole journey. I started going into rooms where it was mostly men. It was 90% men. And listen, like, yes, we still need men in business. They still own 98% of the capital in this country, so we still need them, and it's important to learn from them where we can. However, I just started to realize that women go into those rooms differently, and they flock to each other, and then they're like, oh, this event sucks. And so we actually started hosting events for women and creating the spaces for women in March of 2024. And that grew, and I became more aware of like the struggles that other women were facing. These weren't just happening to me. They were happening to other women. And so when it comes to Zant, like with our women's community and our women's network, we help those women get access to coaching. We help them get access to capital. We help them build their community. I don't want a woman to have to build by herself if she doesn't have to.
Community is so important.
It's so important.
I think a lot of people overlook that part.
Yes. And I think like with coaching, we're talking about the right support. Same thing goes with community. Like we really believe like your perfect formula is coaching, capital, and community.
One more time. 3 C's.
3 C's, coaching, capital, and community. You need all three. So like we're not biased enough to say like you just need coaching because like it's you need capital, you need community. So I think for Zant and supporting women, like we really want to be the place where those women come together and they also talk collectively about their coaching experiences. They work with each other, they support each other, and we've seen capital flow in those rooms when it's the right rooms. That's what we want to be a part of. Building the right rooms. It's like changing, taking over an industry, but also taking a part of that and helping change the culture of women who are building the next company.
I love that. Finding the next female Steve Jobs, hopefully.
Yes.
Or like whoever she is. Let's take
even
Steve
more.
Out of this.
Yeah, take Steve out of that.
Him and his turtleneck.
Yeah. No, we take Steve out of this. We want women who feel empowered, who feel like...
We want Stephanie.
Yeah, exactly. Bring the Stephanie, right? So...
Okay, as a creative founder, how do you stay creative?
Oh, my goodness.
Where does that inspiration come from? On those down days and those high days?
Ooh, well, I have really good friends in my life.
Community.
I have really good friends who are founders, and I have friends who are not founders who remind me of where I came from when I'm down. I have a friend every year who every single year on the anniversary, and I always forget the anniversary, by the way, but he doesn't. He sends me a picture of me in my first ever office, which was the back of a church, and there were literally, no lie, holes in the ceiling. So I think like having people who will remind you of who you are, that is so important. And then with creativity, I love like playing with like Canva and things like that. My team is always like, please let us do our job. But like, I need to be able to visualize and ideate. So being a part of brainstorm sessions with my team is critical for me. Like that allows the creative juices to keep flowing. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Thank you. Thank you, girlfriend.
Do you have anything else that you want to share about Zant? Anything coming up?
Oh my God, we have so much coming up. Okay.
Are you available? So as you guys know, as you know, Maggie, we are primarily Southeast Asian. We are a Southeast Asian firm, so our audience is primarily in the Philippines.
Yes.
Are we able to access Zant? Is that available to us?
Yes, and we actually also, we're hoping to expand more, in those areas and bring some coaches on.
Yeah.
So from those areas. So, we're very excited. I would say you could definitely learn more at getzant.com, and it's spelled just how you think, getzant.com. But also, like, follow us online. Zant.app on Instagram, Zant on LinkedIn. And we have so much. We have a boot camp coming up that's going to be in Florida. We're partnered up with Time Rich, which is a new community for women. That's coming up in the fall. We have other events that we're doing for women, and we always have coaching available. So
I love that.
Yeah, thank you.
I was going to ask you to plug, but you did it already.
I did it.
Okay,
just
so
natural.
It is getzant.com. Getzant.
Yes, that's it.
Spelling bee, I won.
Yes. Let's do the spelling bee next.
Okay, so that's pretty much it. So thank you so much, Maggie. To wrap everything up, we ask our guests to complete the sentence. I am Maggie Rose Macar, and I am... How are you feeling today?
I was going to say the CEO and founder of Zant. like that's what naturally comes to my mind. How am I feeling today?
Or just anything that comes to you.
Oh, well, CEO and founder of Zant came first, but besides the business
She's
stuff.
the boss lady.
Yeah. No, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling calm. I'm feeling energized. I love New York. I love being here, and I just love meeting amazing new people and being around amazing women. So thank you so much for having me. This was so special.
And thank you guys for listening. To learn more about Mod Labs and everything that we do, you can check out modlabs.com.